Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. I matter simply because I exist. This is the kind words of my guest today. She'll be telling us about how she found her self-esteem, how she found her worth, and why she's using her pain from trying to find her self-esteem at the age of tender age of 16 to better and help others. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about my guest. My guest is Tiwalola, a globally recognized life coach, international speaker, and a positive psychology specialist, who is now on a mission to transform the lives of women and girls all over the world. After struggling with low self-esteem throughout her teen years, she's now on a mission to transform the lives of women and girls all over the world. Tiwalola founded Confident and Killing It in 2017 as a response to the generation circle of low self-esteem among women and girls. The Dove study shows that only 4% of women around the world consider themselves to be beautiful. And so, Tiwa has made it her mission to champion a social movement that inspires women to love and believe in their whole self. She is known as a capable speaker who understands how to infuse self-development and positive psychology with fun and inspirational story that relates to the younger generation. I am super excited to get her to join us. They have an upcoming book coming out, which is all about your confidence. That will be out very soon. She'll be telling us all about the book. She'll be telling us about her company. She'll be telling us about why it's so important, now more than ever, to love social media, but deal with it with caution. I'm super excited about this conversation. Meet my wonderful guest, Tiwa, as she shares her story. Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. As I said in my introduction, today's conversation is for you tech geeks. Are you out there wondering how to change the world through technology? What does technology really mean, especially as a woman? So many women out there are looking for that next big move, but not quite sure how to get there. Well, this conversation is truly for you. My guest will be telling you about her own journey, how she got into this field, and how she's using it to inspire, motivate you to your next journey. So meet my amazing guest, Tiwa Lola, as she shares her story. Now we're getting into this conversation about really technology and about your passion and why you got into this whole field. Before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me. I'm a confidence coach and author and the founder of Confident and Killing It. And Confident and Killing It is a purpose-driven organization that wakes women up to their worth so they can be confident, unstoppable, and really dare to live the life that they truly desire. So my goal is really building a media company that breaks the generational cycle of low self-esteem in women and girls.
That's truly amazing. And when you look at your journey to get to where you are today, what inspired you to go into this journey of breaking that cycle for women and girls?
Yeah, so I actually had really bad kind of mental health as a teenager. So I struggled with loads of negative thoughts, self-criticism. So although I grew up in a loving, caring household, supported by parents who loved me and wanted me to achieve my dreams, I was still very mean and critical of myself. And I think comparison had a big part to play in that. Perfectionism had a big part to play in that. So throughout my teenage years, I didn't love my body. I didn't love myself because there was always somebody who looked better than me or did better than me. And so I was in this like dark tunnel of comparison and perfectionism. So when I turned 21, I started my personal growth journey. I had never really heard about the world of personal growth before. And I always just thought my mind is my mind and there's nothing I can do about it. But that isn't true, right? You have the power to program your mind for success and to become the person of your dreams. Your mind can actually work for you instead of sabotage you. So I started to learn about my mindset and build a growth mindset and work on my confidence. And as I was doing this, I just saw all the joy and freedom and confidence that I was unlocking in my life. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, why don't more women know about this? Right. And so when I graduated university and I was volunteering as a youth leader, I noticed the teenage girls I was mentoring all had the same issues I did almost 10 years ago with their self-confidence. And it really broke my heart because I was like, how are we here again? Another generation of young girls are growing up. They're having the same issues that our mothers had, that our grandmothers had when it came to confidence. And I was like, this is not okay. Something needs to be done about this. And so at that moment, I made it my mission to use media and technology to just change the narrative around women and how we love ourselves, how we see ourselves, what we believe in ourselves, and really make confidence accessible, because everyone deserves to be confident. It's not something we reserve for only high society or special people. It's a human right that every single person deserves to love and believe in themselves.
You know, when you look back at your younger days, right? Because when we think about our whole being, our whole purpose of being here, we always think back to our younger days. Someone watching this, a young child watching this, what were some of the symptoms you noticed as a young person when you were younger that you noticed that, oh, I'm not quite confident in this? Where did that stem from in your upbringing as a child?
So my first one was really around body image. So looking at, the models on TV, the girls in the music videos, the actresses in Hollywood, not a lot of them looked like me, had the same body shape like me. So what was glamorized in the media was thick, thin, model body, everything, flat tummy, long legs. And I didn't have that, right? I'm 5'5", so I don't necessarily have very long, supermodel legs. And I'm Nigerian, I'm African, right? So my body shape is not necessarily this thick, thin, long model, but not unfortunately, but at the same time, my sister, my younger sister, is 6 foot with the long legs and the flat tummy, and she could eat whatever she wanted growing up and she wouldn't gain any weight. So I was just in this comparison hole of how come she has it all and I don't? How come she gets to eat whatever she wants and I don't? Like, I have to work out. This isn't fair. Obviously, as a teenager, that was just like, what my whole life was surrounded and focused on, right? And so I began to resent my sister because I saw what she had and I wanted it, but my body shape just isn't built like that. So I then had to go on a journey of understanding that everyone has different body shapes because we're only 11 months apart, right? So we grew up basically as twins, essentially. And yeah, so I had to go on that journey to understand that my body is more than what I look like. And the more I leaned into my sense of purpose, the more I cared less about my physical appearance. So that was a big part of what drove my insecurities.
Yeah, and normally when we go through these kind of things, but I always call them because everyone has to deal with some kind of image pain or that. When you were going through that image pain, when did you realize that I needed to find my purpose? I need to stop comparing myself because the reason I asked, we look at social media today, all you see is comparisons. Either you're looking at comparison of how people cook better. I can't cook, and I admit it. But I look at people and I always wonder, how could someone make such amazing food like this? How do they get themselves composed to start? So when did you realize that this is enough? I need to start loving who I am to overcome the pain of
Yes.
comparison.
When I was 21, my mom gave me a book called 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell for my 21st birthday. And I always thought growth came with age. So I used to say, when I'm 25, I'll be making money, life will be good, I'll love myself, it'll be great, I'll find my purpose when I'm 25, when I'm 30, etc. Right? But actually, I know 30, 40-year-olds who are still struggling with this and who still don't know their purpose and feel really lost. So in that moment is when I realized that growth doesn't come with age. Growth is something you're intentional about. Growth is a practice. And so I looked at, the woman who I wanted to be. So I have very inspirational parents. They're both entrepreneurs, very hardworking, built an amazing life and businesses and careers for themselves. So I always knew I was destined for greatness. Like, my parents have always told me I come from a very encouraging household, but my mind was always fighting that. So when I started starting my personal growth journey, I made a choice to believe that I was destined for greatness. And if I was going to unlock that greatness, I had to make sure that my mind was in the right place. And so, yeah, it was when I woke up to that realization that I have the power of choice to create the life I want. And I don't have to wait till I'm 25 or 30. I can start now. And so, I'm just in the last chapter of my 20s, but I've coached women in their 40s, in their 50s, who come to me because I'm an expert at confidence because I've been working on this for the past 8, 9 years, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. It always, but we always grow from our pain. It's just a
Yes.
thing that whatever hurts us the most is the thing that will lead us to our growth or lead us to our
Yes.
our
Yes.
calling. And because this has led
Yes.
you on to your calling now. If you look at what you're
Absolutely.
doing today you are on this mission to transform the lives of women for the better. And I just read that and I thought, wow, what an amazing thing you are doing. Could you just tell us about this mission of yours? What is it that you are doing?
Yeah. Before that, I really love what you said. We often find purpose in pain. And I often say to people, your greatest, like when you're in a boxing match, heavyweights fights heavyweights, right? You never see a heavyweight fighting a lightweight. So your biggest pain and insecurity is often a direct reflection of your biggest potential. So my negative thoughts and my pain around my appearance, my body, I hated my voice, I didn't think I was this, I didn't think I was that, was a direct reflection of how powerful my voice actually is, of how powerful like the purpose I could unlock is. So whenever you feel pain, whenever you feel fear, that is not a sign to retreat from your dream or from your goals. In fact, when you see the fear around a certain area, that is a sign that you must move forward because that is where you unlock the next level of your life. Yeah, back to my mission. It's all about it's grounded in the science of positive psychology, which is very important for me because I didn't just want to be like, oh, I'm going to become a motivational speaker and I'm going to change your life and that's it. And, buy my course that I just made up from 5 minutes ago. I didn't want that because to me, integrity is very important. Honesty is very important. Authenticity is very important. So when I started to see that I had a gift for helping people see life in a different perspective, for speaking to people in a way that they could really understand complicated ideas that were gotten really simple. The way I spoke to them was super practical. I was like, okay, you know what? I really want to do something with this. So I went to do my coach training. I became a specialist in positive psychology. I'm a qualified life coach. And then I made sure that all the content I was putting out there, the media, the tech, everything was grounded in the science of positive psychology. So whereas traditional psychology looks at pain and suffering, positive psychology looks at the intentionality of your well-being, right? Because there's specific things you can do that science, they've done the studies, they've done the tests that show if you work on these 5 areas of your life, you will be able to build your confidence and feel purpose driven and fulfilled in your life. So I've created my mission grounded in science to make confidence more accessible to every single person. So self-love and authenticity become the norm rather than the exception.
So when you look at it, because one of the things you did say earlier was that you get a lot of older ladies as well, not just, you're in your late 20s, and you also get people older coming to you for, coaching, and you're recognized, well, you're now recognized globally for the work you do. When these women come to you, how do you feel talking to someone who's probably twice your age and you give us a direction of this is what you should be doing? Could you just tell me what you realistically tell them about how they could find their true joy?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is being a specialist doesn't have to do with your age, right? It has to do with the hours behind the scene. So if I've done my 10,000 hours behind the scene, right, I deserve to recognize myself as a specialist. So when I ran a workshop for the Times and Sunday Times community, for example, it was mostly 60-year-olds in that session. And the night before, I was freaking out, like, what are me, like little 20-something-year-old gonna tell 60-year-olds about confidence? Like, it's gonna be terrible. And literally the night before that session, I got an email from one of the guests who said she had just started listening to my podcast in anticipation of the workshop, and it's literally changed her life. She's quitting her job. She recently left her husband and she was feeling in a really low place. But she's quitting her job to finally pursue her dreams as a writer and all of these great things. And so what I realized was that mindset, confidence, the message is limitless. There's no boundaries to that, because confidence is a never-ending journey. Personal growth is a never-ending journey. You don't turn 50 and then all your insecurities leave you, right? At every stage of your life, as you grow and develop, you're going to encounter new challenges and new experiences, right? So I never want people to think confidence is a destination or self-love is a destination. It's a journey. It's a choice you have to make every single day. So when I speak to people who are older than me, I don't look at their age or who they are. I listen to the challenge that they're experiencing, right? I listen to some of the limiting beliefs they have about themselves. Oh, I've just never been that person. Oh, I just know I can't do that. And I challenge that and I question that and I help them begin to see themselves in a different light.
One of the things I really love about you is this positive psychology specialist is one of the things you do. Psychology is a very deep thing, and I myself have been trying to understand this psychology of the people's mind, and this is what you specialize in. Can you just describe to us, for anyone who's looking out there to eventually reach out to you by listening to this conversation, what do you do when you say you're a positive psychology specialist?
Yeah, so it means I've researched the area a lot and I've done a lot of background and courses in this, understanding how to make your mind work in a way that works positively for you. So for a lot of people, your default will be negativity. When I ask people to tell me, something positive about themselves, they're looking left, they're looking right, they're looking up at heaven, right? Hoping maybe the ground should just open up and swallow them, because they really struggle to do that, especially British culture. When I ask them to tell me something they don't like about themselves, it rolls off their tongue. Oh, I'm so terrible at this. I'm so terrible at that. I'm bad at this. I'm bad at that. And so I think our default when we think about ourselves is often negative. Now, your thoughts lead to your feelings, and your feelings lead to the actions that you take or the actions you take or don't take. So the way you think about things really affects whether you take action on it or not. So let's say, for example, you have a goal you really want to, let's say you want to start a business, okay? But your thoughts are telling you no one's going to buy your product. What if everything fails? What if people laugh at you? What if you don't raise enough money, right? We always jump to the worst possible outcome, or we overgeneralize and things like that. And so how does that make us feel? Worried, anxious, stressed. And so what do? We retreat, we procrastinate. We don't put out the work, we don't launch the business, and we stay feeling unfulfilled in our lives. Okay, so let's look at the other side of that, right? Positive mindset. Okay, based on the truth of who you are. So yes, launching a business is scary, but I'm a resilient person, which means if I come through challenges, I'm likely to overcome them. So how does that make you feel about yourself? Confident, bold, like not 100% perfect, but you know that whatever comes at you, you can overcome it. And so what happens? You take baby steps to launch the business. So, as James Allen said, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? You are, whatever you think about yourself and choose to believe about yourself is what plays out in your life. So positive psychology is all about understanding, spotting your negative thought patterns and reframing them into more empowering thought patterns that motivate you to take action. It's about learning how to manage your emotions. It's about building healthy relationships that are around you, nurturing, because you can be a really confident person internally, but if you're in a toxic environment where they don't notice you, they don't acknowledge your accomplishments, they're really mean and negative to you, it's going to throw all your confidence out of the window. So relationships is a big part of building a positive mindset. And then also the act of celebrating yourself and acknowledging your accomplishments, right? That's another thing people are really scared to do. But it's okay to say, you know what, I'm good, I'm doing great. Confidence and arrogance are not the same thing. And so, yeah, that's kind of like a few bits of positive psychology, but it's quite a big area.
That is so good. I love that. Celebrating ourselves is something. Sometimes you see people, they don't even want to celebrate their birthdays. I said, even that
Yeah.
is a milestone. I mean, I said, where I'm from Nigeria, people celebrate everything because
Everything, yeah.
your life is a gift. It's a blessing that you say,
Yes,
hey,
yes.
add a new year, another year to my life. It's amazing. So that gives you that confidence. Oh, with this new year, what am I going to do better? What am I going to change? What am I going to improve? I love that you said the bit about celebrating because it's something we tend to miss so often. I have to ask
Yes.
about this bit. You founded Confident and Killing It in 2017. I love the name, Confident and Killing It.
Thank you.
What is, I mean, the name says it all, but I would love to know what is Confident and Killing It, and what are some of the stand out stories of the success people you've transformed their lives through this true
Yeah.
platform, and how you have accomplished it, because it must have not been easy. First, want to know what is it, what are some of the success stories that come out of this wonderful organization you've created, and tell us a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. So it started in 2017 as me making inspirational videos online. So I was doing a lot of personal growth work. I'm breaking it down into 1 minute videos on Instagram for people to just listen and take in, because I know that if I gave them a book to read, they probably wouldn't read it. But if I made a 1 minute summary of the key points in the book, they would listen to that. So that's what I was doing for about a year. And then after a year of creating content on social media, I then went into in-person events. When I saw how popular that was, I decided to make it a full-blown business and start going into public speaking, running workshops with university students. So I arranged a whole tour around the UK speaking at different universities while it was still a side hustle. So I was working full-time. I would leave work at 5, catch the train to Manchester, to run the workshop at 7, catch the 10 p.m. train, be back, and then be back at work the next day. So I was doing all of this kind of building my profile as a speaker, but also testing out the content and the effectiveness of my message and the tools I was sharing with people. So after I saw how much of a hit it was and the impact that it was having, I decided to take the leap in December of 2019 to quit my full-time job and run Confident and Killing It full-time. So my first time ever as an entrepreneur was in the pandemic, which was, as you can imagine, the craziest part of my life, but I'm so grateful for how it all turned out. So in 2020, I launched the corporate side of the workshops of Confidence and Killing It. So we go into companies where I speak, and I have coaches as well who run workshops in companies for employee engagement and helping women build confidence in the workplace as well. And then we also launched the podcast, and then we have the book coming out on July 7th this year. So those are like all the different elements of Confident and Killing It. So we have book, podcast, workshops, events, and we have an online academy with courses and coaching for people to join and connect with other women on the same journey as them. So that's the ecosystem of Confidence and Killing It.
And the book, would it be launched globally, so people, whatever part of the world, they could also get an asset? And I believe the book will be called the same, Confident and Killing It. Or...
Yes. So the book is like all the different ideas and content structures and everything that I've talked about, the tools, the practical guide, is all now in the book. So that's going to be like the main piece of Confidence and Killing It. It's going live in the UK in July, and then in America, it will go live next January, but it's available on Amazon for international shipping. So wherever you are, you can buy the book and have it. And then in terms of kind of positive messages and impact that I've had so many different messages from so many different people. Some of my favorite ones are a woman who was a freelancer, but she was kind of not confident in her position as a leader, to be honest. Like, she just saw herself as a freelancer. And I'm like, hang on, let's switch this mindset so you can see yourself as a business owner, because her goal was to build a media agency. But you can't build a whole company if you only see yourself as a little old freelancer. So what we did was, again, look at the limiting beliefs, change her mindset, and help her grow. So that was one. And she let go of the imposter syndrome and the fear and the insecurity. Another lady sent me a DM going, she finally dumped her boyfriend, who was kind of really mean and critical and just like red flags and bad vibes. And, you know, she's living life on her own terms. That's a big part of confident and killing it, is being able to know who you are, know what you want in life, and to take action to do it. That action part is the most important bit. So she sent me a message going, I'm 29 and I'm finally confident and killing it. And that was like so beautiful to see. And yeah, just loads of amazing messages from people listening to the podcast that their mind is changing. The amount of people who tell me you've literally changed my life is so humbling, because I don't take that lightly at all. And I'm so grateful that I've been given these gifts and skills that I can use to impact the world in a positive way.
I'm really grateful as well, because I mean, I wish I had you when I was much younger, in terms of when I was, but that was when my confidence was not there at all. I had zero confidence. I would go into a room, I would shrink, I would just I'd say your name, I just couldn't say my name, I just couldn't do anything. And I just,
Wow.
I wish I had people, there were people out there that were coming into schools that would help girls like myself to just find out,
Yeah.
girl, be able to speak. And if you're asked to do a presentation, it doesn't mean that I felt like the whole world was staring at me. So why should I say my name? Wording. So, someone like you going into schools, going into university, going into corporate. The corporate world is very difficult, especially for women after having kids. Your body image change, and you're not quite sure. These are colleagues that have seen you a certain way, and all of a sudden you're going to work. You can't shift away.
Yeah.
You're walking in. You're like, how do I go in with my previous confidence? So, people like yourself doing this kind of thing, going into organization to help women find that joy again, it is totally priceless. And I'm so glad that
Thank you.
we have women like you who are standing up for women like us.
Thank you so much.
But
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
you're also moving this into the technology side. This is something that, and you said at the beginning that you also using technology to empower youth as well. So you're not just doing saying, okay, let's do this. How does technology help in this sector with what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So if my mission is to make sure every single woman and girl love and believe in herself, that means we're looking at scalability. That's a big part of what we do. So initially, my original business plan was, in-person events here, in-person this, in-person that. And then the pandemic came and threw everyone upside down. And then I moved everything online, and I was having women in the Philippines join my workshops, or in Australia, and I would have clients in Hong Kong come to me for coaching. And so it really opened my eyes to see that if we really want to achieve this massive vision of every single woman and girl, it becomes the norm rather than the exception. Technology has to play an essential part to that. So instead of running online workshops, instead of running in-person sessions, I now run online workshops so that it's accessible to everyone, using technology in that way, making sure that I think media is a powerful tool. Like, what we listen to, we read online is the main form of media these days. It really influences how we think and how we see the world. So using media and technology in a way to reach people on a larger scale and make the message interactive and fun, so that it really reaches the people who often avoid the personal development, right? Those are the people we need to reach with media and technology. Yeah.
That's very true. How does social media, I think this is a question you're going to be asked often every time you talk and you give it. How does social media impact the self-esteem and confidence of young girls?
Yeah, so I get asked this question a lot, and I always say social media is a tool. It's not good or bad, it's how it's used that's good or bad. So it's really down to society, the individuals, to set the tone for how social media should be used. Um, and I'm not going to say social media is bad, because we've seen people learn from me on social media. People find my work on social media, right? So social media has the ability to change people's lives, but then it also has the ability to ruin people's lives. And we've actually seen a direct correlation with the increase of social media with teenage girls and the increase of low self-esteem and depression and things like that. So the more teenage girls use social media, the more low self-esteem that they experience. Now, that is because what they're consuming on social media is affecting their confidence and self-worth. So what do we need to do as a society? Instead of bash social media, we need more people like me, like you, with positive messages, with engaging content that are louder than the people pushing for skinny, flat tummy teas, or, do this workout, or starve yourself, or you have to look like this, or you have to look like that. I think we have to get strategic about it. I always say people who want peace need to be just as strategic as people who plan for war, because the people who are planning to just sell products and not care about the well-being of young girls, right? They know what they're doing. They're strategic about it. But the people who want to see society flourish are often like, oh, I just need to be quiet and, be humble about it, and I don't want to make too much noise. And I'm like, no, we need to make noise. We need to be louder. So when a girl goes on social media, her only option isn't to be obsessed with, this toxic diet culture or things like that. There's other things that she can engage with in a positive way. So I think change in society happens on the individual level. So everyone has a part to play. We need to be the change we want to see. I have on my social media a highlights on my Instagram called my Insecurities, because I never want anyone to come on my page and go, oh, she's so confident, she's so perfect all the time. I'm like, no, no, no. Go to my highlights. You'll see I talk about my insecurities too. And so I think we need to be more vulnerable, more authentic, and pursuing less perfectionism, so social media feels more real.
I love that. More vulnerable. We shouldn't just let the kids see us all too perfect all the time, because we know life is
Exactly.
so that's really
Exactly.
right. You started this business, really started it first started in 2017, then you really scaled it up into during the pandemic in 2020.
20.
Uh,
Yeah.
as a woman, it's never easy. And I love to bring this topic for any Black entrepreneur who's starting something that's really big. This is a big mission you're building. It's no longer just let's do a side hustle.